Margaret Rudin met Ronald Rudin at the First Church of Religious Science in Las Vegas. Ronald was a Las Vegas real estate magnate, a gun dealer, and a property manager worth about 8 to 11 million by some estimates. She had been married 4 times before, and so had he, but they were willing to take another chance on marriage number 5. The couple wed on September 11, 1987. They'd been married just over 7 years when Ronald disappeared on December 18, 1994, apparently after walking to Margaret's antique shop, conveniently located in the same strip mall as his real estate office. It was also conveniently located only steps from their home. Margaret called Las Vegas Metro to report her husband missing, but was told nothing could be done for 48 hours. They did search the house a few days later and found no signs of a struggle or anything that seemed unusual. His car was found with a layer of dust on it, parked at the Crazy Horse 2, a gentleman's club near the Strip. A little more than a month later, his charred and dismembered remains were discovered alongside a burnt-out antique steamer trunk near Lake Mojave, about 50 miles south of Vegas. Forensic examination would show he was shot in the head at least 4 times with a .22 caliber gun. A search was done at the Rudin residence then. They found what they called blood splatter in the bedroom and semen on the floor. In reality, an expert testified that the amount of blood was less than a drop of blood from an eyedropper. There was no evidence of any kind of cleanup in the room. What wasn't well publicized at the time was that Ronald's 3rd wife, Peggy, committed suicide by gunshot in that same room in 1978. That incident, an expert would testify, would have caused some of the luminescence they found in the room. More than a year and a half after the murder, a .22 caliber Ruger was found in Lake Mead. The weapon was traced back to Ronald and later confirmed to be the murder weapon. Ronald had reported the handgun missing back in 1988, after marrying Margaret, but 4 years before he disappeared. The grand jury indicted Margaret for murder, but she wasn't in Vegas to be arrested. She fled, spending the next 31 months avoiding arrest until she was taken into custody in Massachusetts in November 1999. She was sent back to Nevada to face trial, and she would spend the next 20 years in custody. At trial, her defense lawyer would suggest that Ronald was killed as a result of being involved in less than legal transactions. Prosecutors would say the motive was the money she would lose if Ronald divorced her. She was only one of several people who were named as beneficiaries of his trust, which amounted to most of his wealth. She described her husband as a man who was paranoid and frequently cheated on her, who had cameras all over the home and owned hundreds of guns. There was no evidence linking Margaret to the murder weapon, the abandoned car, or the suspected crime scene either. Her lawyer signed book and movie contracts before the trial was over and was associated to a website that covered the entire trial. He went on a month-long vacation right before the trial began. His opening statement was a real rambler, and he was accused of at least once falling asleep in court. She was convicted. A series of appeals and a habeas corpus application would follow, the essential parts of which were that her first lawyer was ineffective. Finally, a federal court of appeals panel granted her a new trial, and the U.S. Supreme Court denied the Nevada Attorney General's appeal of that ruling. She would get a new trial, they said, in 2016. After 20 years in jail, she was paroled in 2020, age 76, still fighting to have her conviction vacated, still fighting for exoneration, which it was finally in 2022 in a decision that lambasted her lawyer and was critical of the lack of any evidence linking Margaret to the murder. And we still have no idea what really happened to Ronald. Did Ruth murder him? Was he killed for shady dealings? It's unlikely we'll ever know. This case remains unsolved. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying these videos and want more, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any videos. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it.